Dr. Aaron Tabor has created on Facebook an amazing evangelistic outreach. 2.4 million people have received Christ just since Thanksgiving. Jesus daily. Tell us how it happened.
Well, God's just using social media. Facebook is brilliant with what they've done. They've just digitized word of mouth sharing and chit chat and talking back and forth. And it's just what Christ did himself. And he just went out and shared it word of mouth. And so through the largest Roman road in history, millions of people are being exposed to the gospel every single day on Jesus Daily. We have about 100,000 people per week now publicly declare that they accept Christ in front of their friends, family, co-workers. And so it's a really powerful tool. We're really blessed to have this new technology.
I know Facebook has taken attention to you. We're going to go there in a minute, but go back to the genesis. I mean, how did you start it, and then when did it mushroom?
Well, I'm a marketer. I run a gene therapy company. We're looking at ways to heal wounds and improve anti-aging strategies. And looking into Facebook for marketing, I just noticed one day that there was a little Bible verse on a friend's profile way, way down in the corner, and it was from the Old Testament. And I just remember thinking, well, that's so far down on the page, and it's really doesn't talk about a relationship with Jesus. So I quickly just typed in Bible into Facebook, and there were tons of groups and discussions about the Bible, but very little about a personal relationship with Jesus. And with the global, anti-institution movement, anti-military, anti-government, anti-banking, I thought, well, it'd be great if we just get back to focusing on a personal relationship with Christ instead of so many man-made divisions among all the different denominations. And it really found a niche and has resonated, and God's blessed it. It's been just an accidental hobby, but now it's really, a great way a realistic way to spread the gospel to the entire world.
Give us some demographics, because Facebook's been paying attention to you. And you're spending $5,000 a day advertising on Facebook, and yet the message is very simple every day, and the response is enormous. How does it all work?
Yeah, some days it ranges from 500 a day, and we have spent up to 5,000 per day. But Facebook, if you're familiar with the Facebook page, like any brand like Whole Foods or Ford Motor Company, we have a Jesus Daily page where we publish content. And that content a lot of times is about praying for a child with cancer, or thank God for our beautiful pets that we have, things that can reach out beyond the Christian community, and people that are maybe curious or seeking a relationship with God will come in, and then they'll hear about how God can handle our problems, that Jesus promised He will never leave us, that He will save us for anyone who calls upon His name. And we then publish a simple salvation prayer a few times per week. And so through that, we're having 100,000 people per week now, with just a very minimal budget, openly declare that people that they're accepting Christ. And we have a great need for volunteers then to follow up with these people, disciple them, get church plants into the 212 territories and countries that Facebook is around globally. And we're doing that with Power to Change, which is a Campus Crusade here in Canada. And so if you're interested in growing in your faith and helping disciple others, you may not be the personality type where you're going to go and knock on somebody's door or interrupt them in the coffee line at Starbucks, but you can simply like and click and copy and paste, standard answers that we've prepared to share the gospel around the world. It'll really transform you.
Now, Mark Burnett has created the Bible, but you're also synergizing with Mark and Roma on their shows from a Facebook standpoint, because your performance has taken quite a bit of a notice.
Yeah, Mark and Roma are good, dear friends and true Christians, and what they've done with the Bible series has got literally the whole world rediscussing the Bible and who is God, who is Jesus, how to have a relationship with Jesus. And I've worked a lot on Jesus Daily to get the message out for them. And the hope is that people do realize that we have a purpose here. We're not talking space dust, right? And we deal with many atheists on Jesus Daily, and just the fact that someone believes that dirt taught itself to speak and then to communicate with others, to me, is the most radical of all belief systems. It's the greatest belief in both science and science fiction. But as Christians, we can look at science, and science only shows that life comes from life. So science supports the biblical account of creation, and there's no evidence at all that brainless chemicals can form life. And so we have a great ministry with working with atheists on Jesus Daily as well, too.
Barbara Walters recently announced her retirement, and the exit point to the story is that all the networks are losing their audience, and the landscape of television is totally changing. What do you see as you work with Facebook? What is going to be the future of media?
Well, about 70% of people globally consume Facebook just on their phone. And again, Facebook just digitized word of mouth talking, chit chat, gossip, the same way that eBay digitized the yard sale and email digitized the written letter. And so they just took one of the largest human activities worldwide and made it digital. And so I think more and more you'll see social media guided television shows where people are viewing shows together and commenting on it in real time through social media about what they liked about the show or what that actress is wearing and where to get it. And so we're moving that way. So you'll have social media groups of people viewing and consuming content.
What was your postscript to Mark Burnett with Survivor and Apprentice and all those, that their social media presence wasn't quite what it could have been? I mean, how did you analyze that?
Well, I think, with like on Facebook, God is number one, Jesus is number one, politics and humor are close second and thirds. But, with the secular shows, whether it's an entertainer, an artist, those can't satisfy us spiritually. So it's no surprise that these secular shows have a hard time of having a really high engagement rate. They may have a lot of fans. For example, Lady Gaga has, I believe, 70+ million fans. But when she makes a post, very few people interact with it because there's nothing there that's going to satisfy you like a personal relationship with Jesus can. And so a reporter once had asked me, why is Jesus Daily larger than Justin Bieber and President Obama and Lady Gaga? And it's the exact same answer. Jesus can provide a solution to our inner cravings and our basic need to know our Creator.
So one month we have a new town, the next month we have a Boston, the next month we have a street in Cleveland where 3 girls have been in prison for 10 years. How do you interface with current events in Jesus Daily?
Well, I try to, if it's a major worldwide known event, I try to call that out and ask for prayer for those victims of whatever the violence is. Recently, like with the Boston bombings, I quickly put up a post to say, let's pray for the people damaged and hurt in Boston. And it got an enormous response. And you get people to type in these prayers and they start communicating with other Christians and realizing that there's a lot of other Christians in their town in some remote part of Africa that they never realized that they're accessing Facebook literally on their flip phones, these feature phones. It really has allowed the Christian community to come together in a way never before possible. And also with like prayers for children with cancer. Everyone, regardless of what your belief system is, we've been very successful with inviting people in to then pray for children with cancer, and then they hear the gospel after that.
And Dr. Tabor, you're aware that Crossroads is entering North America and the United States with its own various programs. Is it possible to take an acute social issue around a broadcast or a transmedia program and to accelerate it in its viewership with keywords on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's so great and brilliant about what Mark Zuckerberg and his team did at Facebook is they made it so that every time you interact with a post by liking, commenting, or sharing it, it alerts your friends what you're doing. And that's why Jesus Daily has been so efficient in spreading the gospel. So on a weekly basis, somewhere between 75 to 90 million people will see a Jesus Daily piece of content. And so the same thing can be done with a broadcast show. You have this social media viewing, so whether it's content on demand or a live stream, people can like and dislike it as well, and or leave a negative comment, but it still generates a very large viral footprint that gets the gospel out there and gets the positive message.
And any bias? I mean, when we talk about Google or YouTube and Facebook, a distinction of Facebook with a lack of bias?
Well, Google and Yahoo definitely have a great purpose, but when you look at evangelism in particular, with Google, you have to think of something that you're interested in and then go and type it in. With Facebook, your friends are constantly pushing out that information to you and telling you what you should be thinking about. And so, for example, with a Jesus Daily post that may be a simple sinner's prayer where 300,000 people like it, and then that pushes it out to another 15 to 18 million of their friends who are not even thinking about accepting Christ today, you can see the potential impact that it can have.
Crossroads has a real burden for the youth culture, both in Canada and the U.S. Young people committing suicide, young people that are sinking in the occult, the vanishing family. Are those themes that would resonate with your heart as it relates to evangelism and the next generation?
Yeah, absolutely. We see so many people on Jesus Daily, particularly the youth, young males in particular. They come from broken homes. They've been told in this educational system that they're nothing more than talking space dust. They have no future after death, and so they're very despondent, and they come in saying that they're going to kill themselves, or that there is no God, or that we're wasting our time. And through showing them that science actually supports creationism through modern medical science, we've been able to reach many kids that become Bible-believing Christians and then turn around and can have great influence among their circle of friends.
And just again, trending to the future, because you have an inside insight to Facebook. What's coming?
Well, Facebook's doing an excellent job of keeping the pornography off that destroyed MySpace. MySpace was one of the original large social networks, and Tom, who created MySpace, is a consultant now to Facebook, telling them what not to do. So as long as Facebook continues down a clean advertising path, they should continue to be dominant worldwide. They have just such a large first mover advantage. We're really praying that China opens up to Facebook. That's the only major country that Facebook doesn't operate in now.
Is there any burnout trend of Facebook? I mean, people get in, get out, or get burned out?
Yes, somewhat. As with any technology, people kind of come and go. They'll be on it for a few months and then be off of it. But there's a very high adoption rate because if you're not on Facebook, then you're going to have to end up calling 10 of your friends to tell them what you did that day or text them. Whereas with Facebook, you can just put it out one time, where you went on vacation, what your pet's doing, what recipe you're cooking, and then all your friends can see it quickly.
So our final question, how many people do you think have come to Christ in Jesus Daily since its inception?
Well, we just started measuring Thanksgiving of 2012, and we had almost 2.5 million people, 2.47 million people that have publicly declared that we know of. And that's important because most internet ministries now, you just click an anonymous link to say, I just accepted Christ, but we're asking people to be very vocal. And in Muslim countries, for example, that can be very dangerous to publicly declare that you've accepted Christ. So we believe they're very legitimate. And again, that's the need through powertochange.com. We need volunteers to sign up there to help minister to these new Christians, disciple them, and get them trained enough to start home churches and have a very wide footprint at the local level.
Thank you, Dr. Tabor, for what you're doing. And the site is Jesus Daily. Be sure, if you haven't, to like it and watch its continued impact. We hope you come back and see us again.
Yeah, definitely will. Thank you for helping get the word out.